Most 1500 players lose not because they miscalculate, but because they allow their opponents to play. If you want to instantly jump a whole rating tier, there is one GM trick you must learn: preventing counterplay. This is how Grandmasters win killing games and how you stop throwing winning games. Hi, I'm Grandmaster Shahin. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm gonna talk about how you can prevent counterplay and you can understand what your opponent wants to do during the game. So every time I analyze amateur games, I see the same pattern. They get an advantage, they get excited, they rush, and they open the door for counterplay. A small weakness turns into pressure, pressure turns into tactics, and tactics turn into blunders. So you may think the problem is about calculation, but it's not. It's about stopping the opponent's ideas. Preventing counterplay isn't passive at all. It's active control. That you should understand first. It means limiting your opponent's active moves, closing line before they open, reducing their tactical resources, trading their active pieces, keeping them sophisticated, and everything like this can be preventing counterplay. A GM doesn't ask what's a good move for me. We ask what's the most dangerous idea for our opponent. If you kill that idea, you remove 80% chance of the chaos on the board. So before we jump on the board, and I will give you some examples about this GM trick, let me tell you the formula. It has 3 steps. The first step is identify their strongest resource. Understand what is the strongest pieces or pawn or any idea that your opponent have. That's the first step. The second step is play a move that reduces it. It's also important. Understand and play the move that doesn't let your opponent play whatever he or she wants. And the third and final step is only then improve your own position. Understand it also. Between playing your idea and your plans and winning the game, there is a section which called counterplay, and you should stop counterplay of your opponents. That's the GM trick. So if you stuck under 1500 or around that, that's the thing you should know. Let me show you some real examples on the game that you can use this formula, and you will see if you do this right, the level of your chess will improve instantly. So here is the first position. As you can see, we are black, and in the last move white plays f3, preventing any kind of attack. So as you know, we have 2 more pawns, e5 and b5, and you may think that's enough. This not, because our opponent has a very strong resource. His queen. He wants to prevent us from going to castle. So we need to be careful, and instead of playing some passive idea, let's say going back, which doesn't work because after rook c1, white position is still playable and even better. The best move here is queen a4. Try to remove the strongest resource. Try to prevent our opponents from using that queen. And even if he goes to c5 or d6, doesn't matter, we play queen d4 check. We may eventually lose a pawn, but we have another pawn, and because it is endgame, we cannot worry about the position of our king. We can also not even go into castle. We can play king e7 and it's safe, and our position is completely winning. So that's how you use the 3-step formula. First, we understand the strongest pieces, and the reason we are not still winning is white's queen. Second, we try to understand how we can remove the queen, or how we can deactivate that pieces, and then when we done that, like after here, we can play whatever we want. Just for example, king e7, rook d8, or even taking the f3 pawn, and black position is winning. Let me show you another example. In this position we are black and it's white to move. He played king e3 because it's check. Now if we are not careful and we just do our own plan, let's say we take the pawn, it's not that good. Why? Because after f6 he will restrict our king's position, and after all he can find some mating patterns. For example, one is rook b1 with the idea of rook b8, another one is king f4, maybe knight e5, knight d7 check. If we go here, then rook e8. So it will be difficult, and even if we try to run away, that's not possible because the f7 pawn will be defenseless. So instead of all this headache, what we should do here is just play king g7. Now everything will be fine. This pawn on a4 will not run away. We can take it whenever we want. And f6 doesn't work anymore. We can just go to g6. Now our king, as it's the first principle in the end game, will be activated, and our position is even better. And that's how you could use and you could understand what is the strongest resource of our opponent's counterplay, which would be f6 and trying to restrict our king position, finding some mating plans, and just to stop it at the beginning, and then everything will be sort of. Let me show you another example. Now this one is actually harder than the previous ones, but it's still the same idea. The level of this position may be even more than the 1500 or 900 even. But let me show you, if you use this trick that I teach you and use the 3-step formula, you can even find the best move in this position. Now black played knight e7, trying to make some plans. The first thing is we should recognize the strongest resource of black counterplay, which in this position the stronger resource is he wants to play knight d7 and then knight e5 or knight f6, trying to bring all of his pieces to the king side, make some kind of counterplay. Now as you can see, our position is better, but the thing is we do not have any immediate win. Now if you play something normal like knight e4 or knight e2, it doesn't work because that idea will make black's position much better. So the only winning move here and the best move is first rook d8. Brilliant idea, defending the d7 square, and everything will be sort of, because our opponent cannot bring the knight to the king side. The knight will be deactivated. Even in the future we can try to play a4, a5, threatening the knight. And now after that we can do our own plan. For example, after that, anything that black plays, we can play knight e2, knight d4, activating the pieces and winning the game. But this slightly idea, which may be boring, may be slow, but the strongest, will work, because that one Grandmaster trick is the key of winning this kind of position. Let me show you the final example, and then I will teach you how you can train in this position. Now this one may look easy because okay, we are white and we have multiple pawn up. It seemed like easy job to win this game, but in the last move black played rook queen c8, trying to find some counterplay in the king side. Now in this kind of situation, some players may think that okay, just ignore it, doesn't matter, let's play a7 and everything will be sorted out. But to be honest, it's even possible to lose this game if you play a7. Why? Because after queen c1, if you play king g2, black has unexpected idea bishop h3 check. Now we cannot take the bishop because there will be mate, and even we cannot run away because still it will be mate. So this one GM trick is even working until the end. Do not be sure before your opponent resign that you won the game, and try to always understand preventing counterplay and preventing strongest resources of your opponent. So now that is queen c1. So in this position the best move is queen c6, stopping your opponent, controlling the game completely and winning the position. So in this kind of situation, be aware that one move matters. Let me summarize the whole idea and I will give you some training drills also. Okay, now I will give you 4-step training drill that you can do in your free time and you will improve in this trick. Now the first step tip, take any game where you lost a winning position. Doesn't matter which game, but it should be your game, And then the second step is at each critical moment that you made a mistake, you can check with the mentor or with the engine or with the review part of some online platform. They will tell you which move was the mistake. And then ask yourself, what did my opponent wanted here that I just ignore it completely? That would be the second step. The third step is write down one resource. It could be the piece, it could be the pawn, it could be the mating idea, anything that your opponent had. And the fourth step, the final step, is find one move that you could try and kill that resource. And do this for at least 10 games. You'll feel the improvement immediately. That's the first step training. I hope you do. So to summarize, stop letting your opponents playing chess and start preventing counterplay, and your rating will climb fast. I'm GM Shahin. I hope you enjoy it. Subscribe, turn on the notification so you will be aware every time I will teach you any kind of new Grandmaster tricks.